Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Hare Krishna, everyone, and thanks again for joining day 8 of Srimad-Bhagavatam Katha. Our sincere thanks, as usual, to Prabhuji, Satchidananda Das Prabhuji, who has been giving us such a detailed and deep explanation of the verse 1.1.1 for the past 4 sessions. So this will be the 5th session on verse 1.1.1. So as all of you would know, last Friday was the beginning of a very auspicious month, Purushottama Masa. As per the instructions, one must involve oneself in spiritual activities, which is Shravanam, hearing, Kirtanam, which is chanting or glorifying Krishna, and Smaranam, remembering Krishna always. So in today's session, Prabhuji will also be briefly speaking about the Mahatmya of Purushottama Masa, along with the Bhagavatam verse 1.1.1. So we request Prabhuji to commence today's session. As usual, the session will be for approximately 2 hours. And if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you are welcome to bring them forward at the end of the session. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare Sucharuvakramandalam Sukarnaratna Kundalam Sucharitayanga Chandanam Namami Nandanam Sudirganetra Pankajam Sikhi Sikhanda Murdhajam Ananga Koti Mohanam Namami Nandanam Sudirganetra Pankajam Sikhi Sikhanda Murdhajam Ananga Koti Mohanam नमामि नंद नंदनम सुना सिकार मोक्तिकं स्वच्छंददंत पंकितं नवाम्बुधां गचिखनं नमामि नन्दनन्दनम् करेण वेणुरञ्जितं गतिकरीन्द्र गञ्जितं दुकूलपीत शोभनं नमामि नन्द नन्दनम् त्रिभंगदेह सुन्दरं नखद्युति सुधाकरम् अमूल्यरत्न भूषणं नमामि नन्द नन्दनम् सुगन्ध अंग सौरभम् पुरोज्विरासि कौस्तुभं स्फुरश्रीवत्सलञ्छनं नमामि नन्द नन्दनम् वृन्दावन सुनगरं विलासनुग वाससं सुरेन्द्रगर्व मोचनं नमामि नन्द नन्दनम् व्रजाङ्गना सुनायकं सदा सुख प्रदायकं जगन्मोहन प्रलोभनं नमामि नन्द नन्दनम् श्रीनन्दनन्दन अष्टकं पठेद्यः श्रद्धयान्वितः करेद् भवाम्बुधिदुष्टरं लभेत् तदङ्घ्रियुगात्मकम् ओ नमामि नन्दनन्दनम् नमामि नन्दनन्दनम् नमामि नन्दनन्दनम् नमामि नन्दनन्दनम् हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय राधा मदन मोहन राधा मदन मोहन राधे राधे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे राधे जय राधा गोपीनाथ राधा गोपीनाथ राधे राधे जय राधा रमण राधा रमण राधे राधे जय राधा गोकुलानंद राधा गोकुलानंद राधे राधे जयो दादा दामोदर राधा दामोदर राधे राधे जयो राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे राधे जयो राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे राधे जयो ललिता विशाखा जयो राधे श्याम जयो ललिता विशाखा जयो राधे श्याम, जयो कृष्ण बलराम, जयो वृंदावन धाम, जयो कृष्ण बलराम, जयो वृंदावन धाम। नवनीरदनिन्दित कान्तिधरं रसो सागर नागर भूपवरं शुभवङ्किमचारु शिखण्ड शिखिं भज कृष्णनिधिं व्रजराजसुतं। जयो राधे जयो कृष्णा, जयो वृंदावन, जयो राधे जयो कृष्णा, जयो वृंदावन, श्री गोविंद गोपी नाथ मदन मोहन, श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन, कालिंदी जमुना जयो जयो महावन, जयो राधे जयो कृष्णा, जयो राधे जयो राधे जयो राधे, जयो जय श्री राधे, जयो राधे जयो राधे जयो राधे, जयो जयो श्री राधे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा, श्रील प्रभुपदा, प्रभुपाद 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 प्रभुपाद, जय जय प्रभुपाद, जय जय गुरुदेव 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 गुरुदेव, जय जय गुरुदेव। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्रीला भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर जगतगुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्रीला गौर किशोरदास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्रीला सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर जी की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace श्रीला जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जय। वृंदावन के षड गोस्वामी श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ की जय। ब्रह्ममध्व गौड़ीय संप्रदाचार्य गुरुवर की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। बोलो श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। बोलो श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। बोलो श्री मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। वियोगिनी क्षेत्र श्री राधा वियोगिनी क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, समावेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। पुरुषोत्तम मास सर्व पवित्र पुरुषोत्तम मास की जय। सर्व पुरुषोत्तम पवित्र पुरुषोत्तम मास की जय। भक्त अग्रगण्य मास श्री पुरुषोत्तम मास की जय। समावेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Granth-raj Srimad-Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to all the acharyas, all glories to all the Vaishnava acharyas, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories to all the assembled Vaishnavas. So today is Sunday, September 20th, 2020, and we will be, as per the announcement, we will be continuing with the Srimad-Bhagavatam, very first verse from the first canto, and today will be our fifth session. But before I do that, I would like to glorify Purushottam Mas. So today is, since this last Friday, we had made the announcement last Sunday as well. Asimkar Prabhu had made that announcement that starting this just past Friday, 2 days ago, the Purushottam Mas has begun. And it is most auspicious to describe the glories of Purushottam Mas, especially what to talk about in Purushottam Mas itself. So I would like to briefly give the Mahatmya or the importance of Purushottam Mas. It is extremely important. This month is considered the most auspicious of all the auspicious months that are there. Every month of the year there are 12 months, and every month, according to the Vedic, the nomenclature, they're all different names that are given to those months, and especially they are related to the names of Krishna. And this particular month, Purushottam Mas, is not different, but it is permeated with immense potency of Purushottam Mas. Purushottam means Purusha, Uttama means the best amongst the beings, which is Lord Sri Krishna. That is one of the names of Sri Krishna. So a little bit about Purushottam Mas. Purushottam Mas, actually, it occurs every 32 months. So after 2 years and 8 months, to just understand, and what is the reason we have this 13th month after a period of 32 months that repeats every time after 32 months or after 2 years and 8 months. After 2 years and 8 months, we get the 13th month known as the Purushottam Mas. So the reason that our Shastras explain that according to the Vedic system, the solar system, the sun revolves around its orbit, and so does the moon. So we have a solar calendar and a lunar calendar. We have both. The Vedic calendar comprises of both. And because the sun has a higher speed than the moon for rotation on its orbit, it completes the 12 months faster in one sense. And the moon takes about an extra whole month to complete that orbit, calculating the time. So just to understand this is basically the 13th month is given so that it adjusts the sun and the moon's speeds so that there is a compromise and it will give a balance in the Vedic calendar. So every 2 years and 8 months, we have an extra month which is the 13th month. Now, the history goes as follows. In the Vedic system, we have everything is personified. This is very important to understand, and it's important for me to kind of highlight this point. Like everything that we see, like say we see the sun. So the sun has a sun god, and his Krishna has also given his name. That time when Krishna originally spoke the Bhagavad Gita millions of years ago, in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, he tells Arjun that it is not the first time that I've spoken Bhagavad Gita. I've actually spoken this Bhagavad Gita to the personality, the king of the sun planet, and his name is King Vivaswan, Raja Vivaswan. And so like that, there are different personalities that are controlling a particular planet or a particular part of this creation. So there is Chandra, there is Chandra Dev, or there is Moon God, or the king of the moons. So for example, the personified king of the rains is Lord Indra. The personified king of the oceans is Lord Varuna. So like that, there are all, like there is personified, like the rivers. We pray to Mother Ganga or to Mother Jamuna, but they are also personifications. They are all expansions of Srimati Radharani. Jamnaji is an expansion of Radharani. Jamnaji is actually the sister of of uh, of Surya Dev, and she is the daughter of Yamraj. So, if those who all have known, especially those who are in the Pushti Marg, I know Pankit Prabhu, they sing this Yamnashtakam in the Pushti Marg every day. Namoste Bhagini Sutam, Katham tu Hanyanaptapi. I offer my obeisances to the the uh, the the uh, the sister of Surya, Yamuna, and Bhagini Sutta, the daughter of Yamraj. So I offer my obeisances. So she is a person. So all these different rivers, they are persons. So like that, the 12 months, there is respective personalities for each month. And so when the 13th month appeared, at that time, all the 12 months, in a way, they became extremely upset at the 13 months, and they started abusing her, the Devi of the 13th month, the 13th month Devi, and they started saying that, oh, you are the cause of the imbalance and this and that, and there were so many abusive words that were spoken, and she was kind of ostracized. She was not accepted by the 12 months in harmony. So she was extremely despondent. She was very, very sad. And also she was given the name Malamas. Mal means dirt. Mal means something that is not very pure, something that is inauspicious. And they said that anybody who performs any kinds of activities in your Malamas, they will only obtain inauspiciousness. This is what the other 12 months they labeled her with such condescending attitude and degrading words. So being so sad, the Malmas, she approached Lord Vishnu. And when she approaches Lord Vishnu, she surrenders to him and says, Vishnu, this is your creation. And, I'm being treated like this in your creation. Why is it like that? So Vishnu, understanding her pain, she said, come with me. And Lord Vishnu personally takes her to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, Nanda Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Damodar, Radha Shyam Sundar, just to name a few of those beautiful names of the original personality of Krishna in Golok. Vishnu personally takes Malmas and says that, the best person who can cure this problem of yours, of this defamation, is Sri Krishna. Let us go there. And then Lord Vishnu takes Malmas to the Golok Vrindavan, the topmost planet amongst the spiritual worlds. And she actually hides out of shame. She actually does not, when Krishna comes, Nandan comes, she's hiding behind Vishnu because she is feeling so ashamed that everybody is rejecting her. And that generally happens when somebody is being ostracized, when somebody is being rejected by society or by the mass. That person feels very dejected and very sorrowful and extremely shameful, whether or not that person has done something wrong or not. That stigma plays in the mind of that person, and due to that stigma she hides behind Vishnu. And then Krishna, with a very manda muskan, that is the sweet smile, it is called smita. I don't know how many of you all know, we hear the word smita. It is sometimes given, the name is given to a female. That is the name, we hear the word smita, right? So smita means basically a very slight sweet smile, and that is the proprietary of Sri Krishna Nandanandan. Whenever Krishna is about to speak something, or sometimes he's going to be very naughty, he's going to do something where it's going to be very amazing, he displays that sweet little manda muskan, that smita, that very soft smile. He will display that. And that means we have to understand that something very special is going to happen. So he displayed the smita, or the manda muskan, or the sweet little smile on his face. And then he tells Malamas, Devi, come out, please. Don't feel ashamed. You have not done nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, and then she, when she hears the sweet words of Sri Krishna, she surrenders to Krishna and she tells Nandan, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I can't even show my face to everyone. They are saying that if anybody does any kind of work in this month, that will be spoiled. It will be completely have a very adverse effect. It will be very inauspicious. Whatever work they do, Krishna says, do not worry. And your name is not Malmas henceforth. I am giving you my personal name, and I am Purushottam, the best amongst all in the creation, the best amongst even all the incarnations. And no wonder we see that even Lord Vishnu surrenders to Krishna. He goes to Krishna some things that even the other avatars cannot do. Nandan, the Purna Purushottam Bhagwan can do. Even something that Lord Ramachandra, who is known as Maryada Purushottam, even he has a certain limitation he cannot do. Some of the examples that immediately comes to my mind, of course, they are all very powerful. They all have the same potency. Like Brahma Samhita describes that the original deepa, or the original lamp, has the same, and when the original lamps lights another 100 lamps, the other 100 lamps have the same potency as the original lamp, but the original lamp is the cause of the other lamps being lit. So he is Sarva Karana Karanam, and that is what we have been studying in this very first verse of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. We have been studying the Janmadi Asya verse, the first two words of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, for quite a bit in detail. We have been studying how the different worlds and how the different emanations, the different avatars of Lord Krishna, how they emanate from Nandan, from the original Supreme Personality of God as Sri Krishna. So we have to study these scriptures in order to understand, and we have to hear it from the right source. Otherwise, we will be mistaken. When we were in school, we learned in history that Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu, which is so wrong. These historians, neither they have learned anything properly in spiritual subjects from the proper source, or in the proper parampara, or in the proper disciplic succession. And they have taken a lot of the stuff from this historians from Britain, and they are the ones who used to write our history books and then presented us according to their own lens, according to their understanding. And it had a lot of political agendas hidden, even in those messages that were being taught to in the innocent children in the schools, that were being taught in the English literature and the geography books and the history books, that were tinged with the East India Company or the supremacy of the British Raj. And it was perfect in their own respect how they presented the glories of India, contaminated them. So that is the reason we have to hear Shastra as it is. Bhagavad Suno, Bhagavad Sthane. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has warned one should listen scripture from the right source, from the perfect Bhagavad. And we are fortunate to hear the message of Srimad-Bhagavatam as it is from His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's wonderful treatise, the Granthraj Srimad-Bhagavatam, that he has so gracefully and mercifully produced in 18 cantos, in 18 volumes of the 12 cantos, 18,000 verses translated word to word, and then wonderful transcendental purports, Bhaktivedanta purports. So, like this, when Malma surrenders to Nandan Krishna in Golok, he becomes pleased and he says, from now on you will be known by my name. You will not be known as Malmas, the mass or the month of, of, uh, of pollution or the month of inauspiciousness, Mal or the month of dirt. You will be known by my name. And not only that, I empower you with all the transcendental potencies that I have. Amazing. Sri Krishna gives this benediction. Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, Golok Krishna, he gives this benediction to this Devi, the 13th month, and calls from now on, your name is Purushottama. So, like this, there is actually a Katha, a Puranic history behind the Purushottamas. What is that? So during the five Pandavas, when they actually were visiting the Vraj Mandal, and at that time they had also visited Kamyavan. Those who have visited, actually, Vrindavan comprises of 12 forests. So Vrindavan being one of them. So like that, there is one more. There are 11 more forests. So one is known as Kamyavan. So in Kamyavan, Krishna had amazing pastimes that he performed. Like some of the pastimes was like last time we explained in the Brahma Vimohan Leela, how when in the particular words of the Srimad-Bhagavatam, that Muhyanti Yat Surya, that even the greatest of the demigods or the Devi Devtas or even the devotees are Muhyanti. They become illusion or they become delusion by Krishna's potency, Maya, and by Krishna himself, that it is very extremely difficult for even the greatest of the demigods and even sometimes the greatest of the devotees to understand. And we give three typical examples in that Katha that we had explained, that how even the great Vaishnava Nam Yatha Shambhu, the great devotee Lord Shiva, also became so enchanted by the Mohini Swarup of Sri Krishna, and how Indra mistook the Supreme Lord Krishna, the 7-year-old boy who lifted the Govardhan hill, as an ordinary boy, and he wanted to destroy Vraj, he wanted to destroy Govardhan, and he sent thunderbolts trying to destroy all those devotees, Vrajvasis, and underestimating Krishna, the Supreme Lord and Lord Brahma himself. He was delusioned, and he thought that Krishna, this young boy, in doing picnic in Kamyavan with his friends, he's trying to grab a half-eaten laddu, a piece of sweet from the mouth of his friend Madhumangal, and they are fighting. What kind of a Lord is this? So like that, he kidnaps all the cows and the cowherd boys and the calves for 1,000 years and puts them in a cave. And all these wonderful pastimes were done in Kamyavan. Kamyavan is very, very well known. So those who have visited, or those who will be visiting Vraj, please indeed go to Kamyavan and take the blessings of Kamyavan. So the Panch Pandavas, they had actually gone to Kamyavan, and at that time, it is said that they had the darshan of Lord Sri Krishna, and then they asked Krishna, why is it that we have to go through all these sufferings and pains? Please tell us, and then Krishna starts narrating, one of the reasons why, or one of the main reasons why there was so much suffering. They said there's so much suffering even to our wife Panchali, to Draupadi. Why does she have to suffer so much? Okay, we were the ones who probably made this big mistake of gambling with Duryodhan and losing everything. But what about Panchali? What about Draupadi? She comes from such a affluent royal family from her Raja Drupad, and look at how she's suffering with us. So Krishna, please. So then Krishna starts narrating a Puranic Katha, where he mentions that there was a Medhavi Brahmin, and he had a very small daughter, but this Brahmin's wife had passed away when the daughter was still very, very young and small. And then the father and daughter, they actually kind of lived together, and she grew up with under her father, but without a mother actually. And then um, once she saw, and the Medvi Brahman was very poor, and she saw that some of her friends, as they grew up and they became the age of getting married, they got married very nicely, and she was the only one that was left behind. And sometimes she used to lament, tell her father, "Father, why am I not finding a good husband?" And father used to say, "Everything will happen in good time." And then in a little bit, as time passed a little bit more, father grew more older, and he also passed away. Now this young daughter of the Brahmin was left all alone. And at that time, it is said that Durvasa Muni visited this place. Actually, Durvasa Muni, it is said in this Puranic Katha, in this history, that uh, he was a friend of this Medhavi Brahmin. So the father of this young Brahmin's daughter was the friend of Durvasa Muni. So he happened to stop by to see his friend, but he learned that the friend had already passed away, and she was very devastated, the daughter. So then Medhavi Rishi, his daughter, was told by Durvasa Muni, "Why don't you do one thing, that very soon Purushottam Mas is coming. So you take advantage of that, and you follow it very nicely and strictly, and all your desires will be fulfilled." So she is so, sometimes when a person is so very sad, very despondent, sometimes that person also is very angry at the Lord, or even God, or is very angry at even dharma, or anything to do with spirituality, angry with providence. So she said, "Huh, Purushottam Mas, what Purushottam Mas?" And she starts mocking Purushottam Mas. She starts saying bad things about Purushottam Mas. She starts saying that, "Oh, this Purushottam Mas is also known as Mal Mas. Rishivar Durvasa ji, it is Mal Mas. Anything we do in this month is bad. That's what I've heard." So Durvasa Muni was immediately, he was very upset, hearing her mood and hearing her kind of, say bad things about Purushottam Mas. So he almost was about to curse her. Durvasa Muni is very, very well known for his anger and for cursing. And the famous, katha is there in Bhagavat about how he cursed the great devotee of Sri Krishna, Amrish Raja. And then, the result was pretty bad. It kind of boomeranged on him because of committing an offense at the lotus feet of a great Vaishnava like Amrish Raja. So Durvasa Muni almost wanted to curse her, but then he said, "No, forget it." He controlled himself. That is kind of very uncharacteristic of Durvasa Muni, because once Durvasa Muni is upset, finished. You don't want to be in his crossfire. Nobody wants to be in his crossfire. So, but Durvasa Muni somehow or the other controlled himself, and he said, "Okay, you know what? If you don't want to believe in this Purushottam Mas, why don't you sit in meditation and uh, just meditate on Lord Shiva?" So that she kind of agreed. And she sits in meditation, this Brahman Putri, for 9,000 years. Uh, and Lord Shiva is pleased with her. And when Lord Shiva is pleased, and he appears in front of her and says, "You have done a lot of austerities. Hey, Brahman Putri, what do you want? Ask me for any benediction, and I will give it to you." Now, sometimes it happens that sometimes when we want something so bad, especially materially speaking, we are always constantly thinking about that. If somebody wants a house or some money or some material benefit, excuse me, Haribol, constantly they're thinking about that. And Hare Krishna. And when Lord Shiva appeared, the first thing that came to our mind is when Lord Shiva says, please ask me for any benediction and I will grant it to you. So she said, Pati, 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 Pati. 5 times she said that. Like sometimes, when somebody is stressing something, they repeat the same word or the sentence again and again to lay stress on their message. So then Lord Shiva, he said, Tathastu, in your next life, you will get 5 patis. She said, no, 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 no. I didn't mean that. I said, I just want a nice husband. But you said 5 times. So I said, okay, Tathastu, I grant you 5 husbands. So Lord Krishna narrating this, that is what Draupadi was. She was that Medvi Brahman's putri. She was that Medvi Brahman's young daughter who got this benediction from Lord Shiva for 5 husbands. So now but she said that please, only one good husband. But Lord Shiva says, what I have said, benediction is given once, as the arrow leaves the bow, it cannot come back, the same arrow. Similarly, my words, of such great personalities are like, they cannot be retracted. They cannot be reversed. So he said, I'm sorry, but, you'll have to accept it. So then she is born to Drupad Raja, a very, very affluent king. And then, obviously, through Kunti Devi's little pastime where they win the Swayamvar, and they said, Mother Kunti says, distribute whatever you have. Look what we've got, and distribute it amongst 5 of you. So then Lord Shiva's benediction, there actually turns into fruition. And then, they could not even take back the mother's words or the mother's blessings. So they all actually, very uncharacteristically, the 5 Pandavas ended up getting one wife, Draupadi. So it is due to the certain curses and about the certain past sins. They had to go through what they have gone through, the Pandavas and also Draupadi. So Krishna then suggests that why don't you all, now Purushottama Mass is also coming very soon. So he tells the Pandavas that you should follow this Purushottama Mass very strictly. And then the Pandavas, following the instruction of Sri Krishna, when the next Purushottama Mass came, they actually they actually followed the Purushottama Mass very strictly, and then they got all auspiciousness in their life. Of course, they had Krishna with them, and also obviously they won the battle of Kurukshetra. So Purushottama Mass is extremely beneficial to devotees. It is so important. It is like it is said that sometimes, if I give you an analogy, like let's say if you get the latest iPhone for $10, would you grab it? Of course, you would grab it. If you would grab a fine car like a Porsche or a Ferrari for $1,000, would you grab it? Yes, you would grab it, right? And if you're getting gold is sitting at right now almost at $2,000 an ounce, and if somebody gives you gold at, let's say, $100 an ounce, would you grab it? Yes, you would grab it. You would take advantage of it. So similarly, for devotees, this is the perfect chance at a very deep discount. We are getting the benefit that the Purushottama Mass gives us. It is said there are several benefits of Purushottama Mass. What is it? It is said that out of the 12 months, the Kartik Mass or Damodar Mass is the most auspicious amongst those 12 months. So whatever spiritual activities we do in Kartik, whether it is chanting, hearing, reading, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, any kind of spiritual activity that we perform in Kartik is multiplied 100 times, 100-fold. But the benefit of Purushottam Mass is that it gives us 1,000 times the benefit of Kartik. Yes. So can you believe it? What a deep discount we are getting. So that means if one chants one round in Kartik of Mala, gets the benefit of 100 Malas. But if one chants one round in the month of Purushottam Mass, which is rare, it comes every 2 years and 8 months, you multiply that 1,000 by 100 times. So how that will be 4 zeros of 1 and 2 zeros of the 100. So that is 6 zeros. So 100,000. One mala is equivalent to that much benefit we can get. Then some of the benefits of Purushottam Mass and what we should do is wake up in the Brahma Muhurat early in the morning. So the benefit of when one takes a Brahma Muhurat snan or a bath, Brahma Muhurat is about an hour and a half before sunrise. We get the benefit in Purushottam Mass as taking a bath in a Kumbh Mela. So Kumbh Mela is extremely rare. So if one takes bath in Kumbh Mela, it is said that liberation is guaranteed. And so it is like that one snan in the Brahma Muhurat in the Purushottam Mass is equivalent to Kumbh Mela snan or the bath in the Kumbh Mela. All our sins are eradicated, past and present, one who, with the benefits of Purushottam Mass. And the rivers, all the holy rivers, it is as good as, in Purushottam Mass, we get the benefit of taking about 12,000 times in the holy river. So let's say one gets the opportunity to dip themselves 12,000 times in the Ganga, the Jamuna, or the Kaveri, or all the pure, the holy rivers. We get 12,000 times the benefit. Wow, that is amazing. And Valmiki Rishi says that one can get actually the benefit of 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas. That is also very amazing. Ashwamedh Yagya, if you all know, it is like the white horse sacrifice. A sacrifice in the sense that when an emperor wanted to prove his supremacy, he would let go a white horse after a huge yagya, feeding the Brahmins and a lot of Brahmins chanting the mantras. And then that horse is let go and freely. And then a huge army follows behind the horse. And then through whichever other small and big kingdoms they go through, if the horse is inhibited, not stopped by any other kings, then those kings automatically accept the supremacy of the emperor or the Chakravarti Raja. But if somebody stops the horse, that means they are challenging the emperorship of that Chakravarti Raja, of that emperor. And then there would be naturally there would be a yuddha or a war. And in the war, it could happen that king obviously would the king would be defeated by the emperor, and then he would have to surrender unto him. So we see even in Ramayana, if you know, that Lord Ramachandra performed that Ashwamedh Yagya, and at that time, or through the horse went through all the kingdoms and all the different kings automatically. They just put their crowns down and they accepted the emperorship of Lord Ramachandra. But when it went through very close to the ashram of Valmiki Rishi, where Mata Sita was in was sent into Vanvas by Lord Ramachandra due to the unfortunate incident of the story of the dhobi or the washerman, and how after that Lord Ramachandra banishes Mother Sita. Of course, there is a very transcendental secret behind it, but it's for another time. But then Mother Sita, who was at that time pregnant when she was banished, and she actually came under the shelter of Valmiki Rishi, and Valmiki Rishi had at that time two twins were born, Love and Kush, and they got all the Vidya, transcendental and also material, the martial arts and the Dhanur Vidya, etc., in the ashram. And at that time, when that horse came, they stopped the horse, and they wanted to. And then at that time, a fight ensued between, and Lakshman was defeated by love and Kush, and even Lord Ramachandra was surprised. So we get, so it is like, one can get the position of an emperor. 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas is a very powerful, anybody who can do 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas means he's a very, very powerful emperor. So according to Valmiki Rishi, in the Purans, it is mentioned that one who perfectly follows this Purushottam Mas will get the benefit of 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas. And then it also very quickly pleases Sri Krishna. So whatever spiritual activities we do, Sri Krishna is very quickly pleased. And that is the essence of bhakti. Anukulena Krishna Anushilinam Tat Bhakti Uttam. That bhakti is considered uttam or best when one pleases Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna is very, very easily pleased amongst all the other 12 months. Actually, he's pleased in Purushottam Mas. And in the 12 months, the Kartik Mas pleases Radharani the most. Actually, some people think that the Kartik Mas is the Mas for Krishna. No, it is actually known as the Urja month. And it is the month, Urja means Urjeshwari Srimati Radharani. And it pleases Radharani the most when one follows the Kartik Mas very nicely. So, but there is a very, very nice, tricky situation. Rather, if Radharani is pleased, then Krishna is automatically pleased. So I would say that personally, I have a feeling, I can say that even if one, knowingly or unknowingly may have not done Purushottam Mas, but has done Kartik Mas, then, I think Purushottam Mas, in my personal opinion, from a Rasik point of view, if Radharani is pleased, millions of Purushottam Masses will be pleased. But from the Mahatmya point, this is very true, the facts that I'm stating. So sometimes, the rasa or the rasic devotees have certain different angles or visions of how to see stuff. So, and then we will be describing that in the, hopefully today is the last session of the first verse about the rasic angle of the first verse of Srimad-Bhagavatam Janmadi Yasya, and how Vyasdev is actually, from the rasic point of view, how our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas are describing this verse. So, and also it is said that one who strictly follows this Purushottam Mas gets the benefit of going at the end to Golok Vrindavan, so which is beyond Vaikuntha. So, some rules on how to follow the Purushottam Mas. Now, some can follow it to the T very strictly, some cannot. So try your best. Even if you're not able to do all, at least do one. If not one, there are about 10 to 12 different things that we should, follow very strictly in Purushottam Mas, actually with some subtopics in it. But see, whatever you can, try your best. It is best to, whatever I described earlier is for those who follow it very strictly. All the other benefits that I had mentioned earlier, the different benefits that I mentioned is that it is 1,000 times more powerful than Kartik. It is like taking, one takes a bath early in the morning in Brahma Muhurat, one gets the benefit of the Kumbh Mela. All the sins are eradicated. It is like taking a bath 12,000 times in the holy rivers like Ganges and the Jamuna. And Rishi Valmiki has stated that it is equivalent to 100 Ashwamedh Yajnas. It pleases Krishna very nicely and also quickly. And also it gives us Golok Vrindavan, the original dham from where everything emanates, where the residence of Nanda Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, from where everything emanates, Janmadi Yasya. Again, the first verse, the first couple words of Srimad-Bhagavatam, the first couple words of the Vedanta Sutra. How to follow? Now, in order to follow this, we have to wake up strictly in Brahma Muhurat. So waking up an hour and a half before the sun rises. And what we should do is, of course, take a bath and chant the holy names. Nothing like it. That is the most important part amongst all the strict one may follow. Chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. We must strictly follow the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and in this, sitting in one place, chant minimum 16 good rounds. The more we can, the better. But that, so somebody who is very smart can say, oh, anyways, it is multiplied by hundreds of thousands of times. So why should I chant 16 rounds? No. One should not circumvent the instruction of Acharya Prabhupada. So if you chant minimum 16 good rounds, then you can imagine, you multiply that at least by 1,000, you're getting the benefit of 16,000 rounds every day. So, chanting of the holy names, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur, as mentioned, one of our great Gaudiya Acharyas in our Gaudiya Sampradaya line, he has mentioned that at least 3 stutis should be sung, eulogizing Sri Krishna in the Purushottama Mass. So some of the stutis, like we sang today after the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, I sang the Nanda Nandan Ashtakam that was compiled by Rupa Goswami. So very nice. So any stutis, nice stutis, yet eulogize Sri Krishna, the Jai, like for example, Jai Radha Madhav, etc. So we can sing any 3 stutis or 3 nice prayers that describe the glories of Sri Krishna. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that that is a very good way of pleasing Sri Krishna in Purushottamas. This is how one should follow. Every day, like in Kartik, every day a ghee lamp is, we offer it to Krishna. Similarly, we should offer it every day in the Purushottamas. And also, what else we should do? Hear Hari Katha. That is the reason why I took some time today to explain the glories of this Purushottam Mass. Whatever Harikatha we will be speaking and whatever Harikatha you all will be listening, whether it is through me, or through any other lectures, spiritual lectures that you hear, even if it is on the internet, doesn't matter. Hear it every day. Hear Harikatha every day. And that is one of the requirements to perfectly follow the Purushottam Mass. Offer tulsi leaves to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Every day one should offer in the Purushottam Mass. And different shlokas should be recited from the different scriptures. One of the important things that to follow in Purushottam Mass perfectly is to recite chapter 15, known as the Purushottam Yoga of Bhagavad Gita. One should recite that. It takes about 10 minutes. It doesn't take that long in chapter 15 to recite those shlokas. And also it is mentioned in the Puranas that one who strictly follows the Purushottam Mass, one should actually sing Jagannath Ashtakam. Amazing. When I first heard that, I was like, really, wow. I was really wow. Jagannath Ashtakam. So Jagannath Ashtakam should be sung every day in Purushottam Mass. And then according to one's Shakti, Yatha Shakti, according to one's ability, one should give in charity in Purushottam Mass. That will also be multiplied. Or any kind of pious activities that we do in Purushottam Mass, they will be multiplied by 1,000 times. But a word of caution, any kind of impious activities that we perform will also be multiplied by that same factor of 1,000. So we have to be very, very careful. And some of the don'ts in Purushottam Mass, we should not even in our dreams commit any Vaishnava aparad, commit any offenses towards any Vaishnavas. Sometimes we are upset, sometimes we say so many things about certain persons, but still if they are doing some kind of spiritual life, be very extra careful not to speak ill of them. And especially for pure Vaishnavas, no blasphemy. So there is no Vaishnava aparad. One should control the anger, no violence. And please do not consider this Purushottam Mass. Do not be complacent. It is not ordinary. Because Sri Krishna Golok, the Krishna from Golok, Govindamadi Purush, Nanda Nandan, Yashoda Nandan, has personally blessed this month with all the potencies. And also some of the foods that we should refrain from during Purushottam Mass is that we should fast from, we should not eat eggplant, brinjals, baigan, no tomatoes, no loki or the white squash or any kind of squash, no urad dal. Urad dal should be avoided. Anything made of urad dal, so dahi vadas and all should be avoided because vadas are made of urad. Or papad should be avoided. Honey should be avoided. A tal or sesame seeds, til should be avoided. And mustard seeds. So matas who are cooking, use jeera in your cooking. Don't use mustard seeds. No mustard seeds should be used. No rye. and no mustard oil. So mustard oil should not also be used in this month. And especially those who are brahmacharis and those who are sannyasis, they should not be shaving uh, uh, neither their beards or even cutting their hair and even cutting their nails. So the whole idea behind this is less bodily needs, because the time we spend in cutting our nails or cutting our hair or shaving, that much time, that much more time, even if it is 5 minutes or 10 minutes, spend more that much time in hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. So this is, of course, to hear it, it is very easy, but sometimes it's very difficult to perform. So try your best to uh, to do this as much as you can. And next Sunday is Ekadashi also, Padmini Ekadashi. It's one of the Purushottam Mas Ekadashi, is very auspicious. So again, this factor will be multiplied. And again, we are fortunate that next Sunday we will be speaking Harikatha and hearing Harikatha. So this is very amazing. So do not try to miss. We have the opportunity, we should grab it. Just like somebody, if they say, I'm going to give you a genuine latest iPhone 12 that is going to be announced very soon by the Apple company for only $50. Do you want it? Arey Baba, I will grab it. I will give it to you right now. Give it to me. Or a Porsche car or a Ferrari, you're getting only for $1,000. A car that is tagged at $300,000, you're getting it for 1,000. Would you want it? Yes. So let's be intelligent. For material things, our brains work very fast. Our calculations are very fast. If I put so much money here, this is in so much time, it will be so much. And then, or if I put it in the bank, they are offering the best interest rate. And if I put it in the post office or I put it in some kind of a annuity, I will get so much interest. And after 5 years, so we all started calculating so many things. So we should keep this in mind that, through our faith, our acharyas, the Puranas, the Shastras are saying that the kind of benefits that we will get through this Purushottam Mass is unbelievable. We are getting a very, very deep discount that is unheard of, and it is untrue, just to hear, but it is very, very true. So all glories to Sri Purushottam Mass ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Purushottam Mass ki Jai. Purushottam Mass ki Jai. Purushottam Mass ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Now today, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Janmadi Yasya Yatovanvayad Itarataschaर्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् Tene Brahma Hridayadi Kavaye Muyanti Yatsuraya Tejovari Vridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trusargo Amrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirastakuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi Satyam Param Dhimahi Satyam Param Dhimahi. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayaudirayet Shrinvanta Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridiantasta Bhadrani Vidunoti Surutsatam Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naisthiki Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. My thousands of obeisance to His Divine Grace Prabhupada. My millions and thousands of obeisances unto all the Vaishnava Acharyas. And my obeisances unto all the listeners. Vancha kalpatarobhishcha kripa sindhuve vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Whatever I speak, my dear Vaishnavas, please bless me that it will please Srila Prabhupada, it will please our Gaudiya Acharyas, and above all, it will please Srimati Radharani. That is the goal, samam bonam, of our Gaudiya Vaishnava Radha Dasyam. Hare Krishna. So, in this verse, the first verse, we have described elaborately almost for a month. We have been describing the first verse, 4 sessions. So just very briefly, so last week we described the last couple lines of this verse, where the verse says that Tejavari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisarga Amrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So it is due to the interactions of the modes of material nature, and also the Pancha Mahabhut, namely the fire, earth, water, their interactions, vinimayo. When that interaction happens, then we actually, the illusory energy of Sri Krishna can make something look different just due to the interactions. And the permutation combinations of the 3 modes of material nature, like the tamogun, rajagun, and satogun, the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness, that actually interacts with each other, and it produces certain different moods, certain consciousness, and certain things in the material world that has been produced. And that is why indirectly Krishna's material world is created through Maya, or the para and the para Shakti. So this Maya Shakti is the Bahiranga Shakti, which is not present in the spiritual world. So in this particular verse, we had last spoken that in Tejovari Mridam Yathavinimayo Yatra Trisargo, in this entire creation, 3 sarga, the 3 sarga meaning the 3 worlds, Trisarga Amrusha, it creates this illusion because of the 3 modes of material nature. And because of that tamogun that we all have, all the living entities, in the mode of passion and in the mode of ignorance, we are thinking that we are this body. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa ahankar vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that prakriti kriyamanani, it is due to the influence of the material nature, the interaction of the material nature. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasa. Because of these 3 gunas, all this, because of all these gunas, gunai karmani sarvasa ahankara vimudatma karta aham iti manyate. Ahankara, due to the ahankar, due to the false ego, because of the influence, just like somebody who is extremely drunk, a drunkard, and he has drunk so much that he can hardly walk straight. But if you tell him that, Arey Baba, be careful, you're not walking properly, shall I get you a taxi? What are you talking, man? My car is right there, I'm going to drive my car home, and if you give me a plane, I can fly a plane. What are you talking about? So that man is totally bewildered, is under illusion due to the influence of alcohol. Similarly, we are all illusion due to the influence of Maya. We are thinking that we are this body, which we are not. Just like a drunkard is thinking in his drunkard state, I am the president of the country. What the hell do you think you are? Just like Prabhupada, I remember many years ago, I had heard this Katha that Prabhupada had mentioned, that there was one drunkard pot maker, and this pot maker used to work very, very hard, and whatever little rupees he used to get, then at the end of the day he would spend everything in drinking. And then when he used to come home after drinking, he would talk nonsense, stupid, under the influence of alcohol. Look, he would tell his wife, today I made about 100 pots. Tomorrow I'm going to make it double, and the day after tomorrow I'm going to make it triple, and I'm going to hire more people, and then every day my production will become 1,000 pots, and then in a month's time I will make it a big industry. I will do 100,000 pots a day, and we are selling 1 pot for 1 rupee. We will make 1 lakh rupees a day, and we will become very rich. And then then he says, I'm not going to listen to your nonsense. Anytime you're going to tell me any nonsense, and he kicked, and it so happened that the 100 pots that he had made that day, that whole day, he kicked that whole row, and the whole row came crashing down. So the point is that we also are under the influence of Maya. The Maya has got a deep influence of everything in this material world. And the highest or the biggest influence of Maya is we are thinking that we are this body. I'm Hindu, I'm Christian, I'm Buddhist, I'm Punjabi, I'm Gujarati, I'm Odisha, I'm Bengali, etc. I'm etc. etc. So this is all bodily concept. But in the spiritual world, Vyasadeva describes, the last time we described that dhamna svena sada nirasta kuhakam. That particular dham, which is Golok Vrindavan of the spiritual world, sada always, svena sada nirasta kuhakam. Sada nirasta ko is bereft of this material maya, of the modes of ignorance, tamogun, rajogun, and satogun. So it is bereft of it. So now he is describing, as they've described the material world and the influence of Maya on the material world in this first verse, how powerful Maya is. That Tene Brahma Rida Adika Muhyanti Yat Surya. We described that in the previous Sunday. Muhyanti Yat Surya. Even the greatest of the demigods or the greatest of the devotees are put into illusion. We think we are not in Maya, and we elaborately described it about 2 weeks ago. Even when we take the spiritual life, we have to be extremely careful. We should never be grasped with that pride. Oh, I know so much, or I'm better than you, or better than the other person. This is a big disease that most of our temples are infatuated with such devotees, because most of us, we have association and we are associated with Kanishta Vaishnavas. There are three kinds of Vaishnavas. I have mentioned that in my Katha before. Actually, there are 9, but I will just, kind of make it 3 to just understand. Kanishta means one whose thinking is very low, whose thinking is very, very niche-time, a neophyte, who is very, very poor in fund of knowledge in advanced spirituality. One who is very arrogant. A Kanishta Vaishnava thinks that only he is the devotee and everybody else is not a devotee. That is one of the symptoms of the Kanishta Vaishnava. And they behave like that. They will try to give instruction to everyone, and they will try to tell, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, but personally, they are completely a hollow or a vacuum in their personal lives. And there is no progress in their personal life. They're envious of devotees. If somebody even does something very nice, and everybody else appreciate, but this one devotee will never appreciate. He's so badly in Kanishta that he will never see the goodness of that person, even though. So that is one. Madhyam Adhikari Vaishnava is that he not only has faith in the Supreme Lord, but he respects all other Vaishnavas. He will respect all other devotees. And he will try to keep himself away from the association of non-devotees. Otherwise it is very dangerous. One can fall down. One can actually, it's a dangerous thing to do. It's like, I remember, I don't know how many of you all are here are Maharashtrians or understand Marathi. In our childhood, we had, remember, in Doordarshan in India, Bombay, they used to show Marathi movies every Saturday. And I think Sunday was Hindi movies. So we grew up in a predominantly Maharashtrian area. So we had good Maharashtrian friends also. So I like good movies that had got good theatrical meaning, like some philosophy in it. So I used to be selective even in those days, what kind of movies I will see. So there was this movie, and I still remember the cast. It was Dr. Sriram Lagu, very, very fantastic actor in the Marathi stage. And also later on, I think he came into Bollywood, into the Hindi stage. And there was a movie called Ekach Pyala. Ekach Pyala means only one glass. In that, the summum bonum of that movie is that he was a very nice teacher, very, very sattvic person, always speaking the truth, teaching the students, and living in a village environment. He had everything good at heart, and everybody respected him very highly. Very, very pious person, punyashali vyakti. And I don't remember the other details, but somehow the other, he got into the association of a culprit, or I think it was in some kind of, in that time, from village to village, they were called nautankis. They go and they perform dances, etc. These nautankis, it's a small group of artists who go from village to village. And then in that association, he never used to attend them. It was not considered good in society to attend Nautankis. Nautankis were generally attended by those people, low class people in the society who did not respect women. It was more or less like a sophisticated version of prostitution. That that women dance in on a stage, and they make some messages that are more or less of a very sexual content, that kind of a that kind of. So somehow or the other, he enters into that stage, looking into somebody, drags him into that performance, and then he gets attracted in such a way that then they offer, one of them says, "Here, just one glass, take one glass." So in the company of those ruffians, they push him into drinking one glass of liquor. Ekach pyala, that's the name of the movie also. And then once he had that first pyala, the first glass, he was finished. He was ruined. He became the worst drunkard. The respect that he had earned in the society, and even it is said in the end of the movie, I remember still, it was in my childhood, I saw it about 40 years ago, maybe more than that, that they had actually erected a big statue of this teacher, who was like the beacon of their society. But he was so lost in his drinking that his whole outlook had changed, beard, and then when he visited back to his own village and he saw his own statue, people were still respecting, and he's sitting under his own statue and crying. What happened? Ekats pyala, just this one glass destroyed me. So like that, there are real stories in life that people, when they get into the bad association, we get destroyed. So similarly, Maya is so strong. If we think that we are not under Maya, then we are in Maya. And I gave you the example of Giriraj Swami, how Srila Prabhupada, one time on the Juhu Beach morning walk, Giriraj Swami, one of Prabhupada's disciples, said, "Prabhupada," and there were some question answers every day during the morning walk. So he said, "Prabhupada, sometimes we are in Maya," and he was about to say something or ask something. Prabhupada stopped and he looked at him straight in his eyes with wide eyes open, and he pointed his stick to him and he says, "You're always in Maya. Why you're thinking that you're not in Maya?" That is, and Giriraj Swami, one of most advanced devotees at that time, very reputed Vaishnavas at that time, he said, "My whole pride came, Prabhupada crashed my pride." So that is the thing that, so Madhyamadhikaris, they avoid the company of abhaktas. That is, there are many more symptoms given by Rupa Goswami, but I'm just, because of the time restraint, I'm just telling you the main points. And then there is Uttamadhikari Vaishnava. The Uttamadhikari Vaishnava thinks that he is the only one that is not a devotee, everybody else is a devotee. And it could be even a ruffian or even a prostitute. Even she is a devotee. They have some part to play in Krishna's creation, to fulfill the karma of an entity by fulfilling a particular part in the creation. What high thinking this is, Uttamadhikari. And they don't preach. But Uttamadhikari devotees, they come down to the Madhyam platform. Like Prabhupada is an Uttamadhikari Vaishnava. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Uttamadhikari Vaishnavas. So many Vaishnavas, in our line, and other Vaishnava Sampradayas, like the Ramanujacharya, Uttamadhikari Vaishnava in the Sri Sampradaya, or Sri Vallabhacharya, Uttamadhikari Vaishnava in the Vallabh Sampradaya, the Pushtimar, they are Uttamadhikari Vaishnavas. They will never preach, but in order for the well-being of the masses, they come down one step, and only when you are a Madhyamadhikari you can preach. Because if you are in that consciousness of Uttamadhikari, then you will never be able to preach. I am worse. What will I preach to that person? So, but Madhyamadhikari plays a very important role for saving souls. And Krishna wants Madhyamadhikaris. But at some point comes where a Madhyamadhikari stops preaching and he becomes a Baba, like Bhaktivedanta Thakur. He is always a Uttamadhikari. He wrote many books, etc. But there came a point in his life where he reclined everything and then he just went into reclusion and he only did bhajan. He became totally absorbed in bhajan. He did not even preach to anybody, because that time the mood of Uttamadhikari was completely, that was his consciousness. So we have to be extremely careful. Tejovari mridam yatha vinimaya yatra trisarga amrusha. Illusion is very strong. Even after so many learned people, we give you examples of the big Ram Kathakar, how he blasphemed the activities of Sri Krishna and the activities of the Yadavs, etc., and saying that they were drunkards, etc. Janma karma chame divyam jo veti tatva tatva punarjanmaneti mameti. So Arjuna, they've never understood the basics of the spirituality which is given in the Bhagavad Gita, and they're talking about advanced topics. How horrible it is. That is the influence of Maya. Muhyanti Surya Tejo Vari Yatha Vinimaya Yatra Trisargo Amrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So this particular Dham Golok Vrindavan, the spiritual world, it is bereft of Mahamaya, which is consisting of the three modes of material nature, Tamogun, Rajagun, and Satagun, the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, and the mode of goodness. Then it is only permeated by Yogamaya. And we explained that time also quite a bit in detail that Yogamaya as like a personality there who has been given, she has been given a blank check by Sri Krishna. Use it as you want to enhance the different leelas, to enhance my relationships with the devotees in Vraj, to enhance that. Especially in Vraj, Yogamaya is extremely busy, 24/7, no rest for her. In Vaikunta also, Yogamaya is present. But I give you that example of that watchman who is in night duty. And the 8 hours or 10 hours of duty that watchman does, he has nothing else to do. Simply, watch that TV in the cabin or fall asleep. And, only if there is a car coming or somebody honks at the gate, then he wakes up. That little bit work he has to do occasionally. So the Yogamaya in Golok Vrindavan is at its highest and at its peak. So much beauty. She has always constantly, along with Vrinda Devi, along with Purnamasi, these three personalities are blessed by Sri Krishna to even put themselves, including Sri Krishna himself, into a very special spell, the spell of Yogamaya. We are in the spell of Mahamaya. Krishna is on, and the devotees in Vraj are in the spell of Yogamaya. We explained that too. Because, and I gave you the example last time, if you remember, of Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, when Krishna ate mud, asked him to open his mouth, and there when he opened the mouth, reluctantly, finally opened, at that time, Yogamaya, for a few seconds, removed the Yogamaya. Immediately Mother Yashoda saw the entire creation. She saw Vaikunta, she saw the material world, she saw all the different planets. She even saw all the different planets in Vaikunta. She even saw her own Golok Vrindavan, and she even saw her little Gokul. She even saw her little Gokul in the mouth of Sri Krishna. And not only that, she saw Brahmand Ghat, that tree under which she was sitting and asking Krishna to open the mouth. And she was perplexed. What am I seeing? This is my little Lala, only 3 years, 2.5, 3 years old. And I'm seeing all these things. Oh, I'm crazy. Oh, it is the Maya of Vishnu, meaning Mahamaya, that is making me see all this. So they also have concept. It is not that they don't have concept. They have knowledge. So like this. So like that Mother Yashoda, and then immediately Krishna tells Yogamaya, what are you doing? Are you trying to spoil my relationship? You're making me remember that I'm the Supreme Lord. You're making her remember that I'm the Supreme Lord, which is a topmost secret. My relationship, my intimacy with my own Maya will be spoiled. What are you doing? And then Yogamaya immediately covers that. And then she makes some things, oh, I'm imagining things. I've worked very hard today. Kana, no more meat eating. Come on home, wash your mouth. And then she marches his home, and that same intimacy is there, catches Kana's ears and catches his hand. Come on home, in front of everybody in Gokul, and all the gopis are laughing. All the gopas are making fun of the Supreme Personality of God, and Krishna loves that. But there, can anybody make fun of Lord Ramachandra? Can anybody make fun of Lord Narayana? Anantasesh or Lakshman will burn them to pieces immediately. Can anybody even put their hand on the shoulders of Lord Ramachandra? No. But Madhumangal, Sudama, etc., they can put their hands on Krishna's shoulder and they can speak to Krishna very freely because of the Yogamaya effect. So that is Tejovari Mudam Yathavina Yatra Trisargo Amrusha Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kuhakam. This particular world, the spiritual world, is bereft of Mahamaya. And to that personality, Sri Krishna, who resides in Golok Vrindavan, I offer my obeisances, which is the real truth, which is the source of all the truths. Satyam Param Dhimahi. Satyam Param Dhimahi means the topmost and the absolute truth. There are many different truths. And last time I do remember I even explained very briefly Einstein's theory of relativity by giving the example of a very small car. And imagine it is on a very long flat bed, which is thousands of miles long on a truck. And the car is actually traveling at 70 miles an hour. And the truck on the road is traveling at 100 miles an hour. So what is the speed of the car? So the question is relative to what? Relative to the truck, 70 miles, relative to the street, 100 miles, relative to what? Relative to the speed of sound, relative to the quantum quarks that are existing, the atoms and the revolutions, relative to what? I also gave the example of somebody makes a statement, my neighbor is very rich. So it's a relative truth. It may be true, it is rich. He's staying in a $500,000 house and he's telling somebody who lives in a $10 million home. And in a neighborhood, in the $10 million homes in that subdivision, all the houses are between $10 and $20 million. So if somebody is told that, my neighbor is rich, then, that person will internally think, okay, I understand. But perhaps you have not seen, my neighborhood or my house. So that truth that constantly keep changes is not absolute truth. And that is the reason even if those who have studied physics, chemistry, science, etc., those are values that are absolute in one sense. I'm just trying to drive the point home. Absolutes, like for example, these are established truths that will not change. Like there are absolute values in physics or chemistry that will never change, and based on those values, experiments are conducted. They are considered as the Bible, as the absolute truth. And based on those facts, like the speed of sound is 323 meters per second square, gravity is 9.8 meters per second square. So if somebody is going to talk about speed and velocity and acceleration, then there is some comparisons that they have that are absolute, and they are using that. Then nobody's going to reinvent that apple that fell on Newton's head. It happened, it was established, it is considered as the absolute truth in the world of science. Similarly, in the absolute truth in the world of spirituality, or in the absolute truth in the world of reality, the absolute truth is Sri Krishna, Govinda. He is the reason for everything and the Sarva Karana Karanam. He is indeed the absolute truth. Dhamna Svena Sada Nirasta Kokam Satyam Param Dhimahi. Vyasdev meditates on that. So this first verse, I think, I am going to be stopping here today because I will probably give a chance. I'm sure people have a lot of questions, and I will try to, curtail this session to maximum 2 hours. But next week, I will go into the more internal meanings of the first verse, which are rasic in nature, which are very, very deep, which I intended to do today. But because, we were glorifying Purushottama, the shortage of time was there. So, but I just wanted to kind of touch base. It's always good to hear again and again the glories. And again, if you all remember, this first verse is a commentary, or actually it is the Gayatri mantra explanation also. So the first Gayatri, or the Surya Gayatri, that Brahma Gayatri, also known as Om Bhur Bhuvasva Tatsa Vitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Napracho Dayat. Amongst all the descriptions that are given in the material worlds, I meditate on Surya. Surya meaning Sri Krishna, and Bhargo Devasya means the energy of Sri Krishna, energies of Sri Krishna, which are in Golok Vrindavan, the gopis, and especially the topmost gopi, Sri Radharani. So there is a wonderful explanation of the Brahma Gayatri mantra. Most people consider that Savitu Tat Savitu Varenyam means I offer my prayers to the sun god. It is true, but from a deeper perspective, those who are given those eyes and those ears for the special understanding the deeper meanings of the verses. Only they will be able to explain the nuances and the rasa. They will be able to actually, just like, if we go to, in India, most of you all may have had sugarcane juice, ganna juice, right? What does that sugarcane juice wala do? He takes fresh sugarcane that is full of juice, he picks it and he puts it through the press. And that press squeezes the juice, and he has got one pot there, and that collects the juice. And then what he does on the other side, that the remnants of that bamboo sugarcane comes out, and he folds it again, and he puts it through the press again, and more juice comes out. And he does it many, many times until nothing comes out. So similarly, our Gaudiya Vaishnava acharyas and some of our acharyas in the pure Vaishnava line, they are like this ganna juice walas. They have been, each and every verse, in each and every word, they are able to churn and churn and press and press and compress or vistar and vistar. They're able to expound and expound and expound, so that the churning takes place for the pleasure of Radha Krishna. So next week, definitely get ready. And because it is Ekadashi day, nothing like it. Hopefully, the glories of this verse will take a different dimension of 1.1.1 Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, first verse, first canto, first chapter, first verse. Om Janmadi Yasya Yatonvayat Itaratascha Artheshwa Abhigyaswarat Tene Brahma Hrida Adi Kavaye Mohyanti Yat Surya Tejo Vari Mridam Yatha Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Amrusha Damna Svena Sada Nirasta Kokam Satyam Param Mahi. How beautiful. What a wonderful verse. I'm telling you, perhaps I have very limited capability. And even then, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, I have been able to stretch this for a month now, just on this first verse. So hopefully in the years to come, more and more is revealed in my heart, so that I can share more and more with the devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Shri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Purushottama Mas. Shri Purushottama Mas ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So yes, Prabhuji, I would appreciate it if you can make the closing statement. Anup Prabhu, if you are available. And we can unmute after your announcement. Oh, actually, one second. Let me do something. I have not made you the co-host today. So go ahead. You can unmute yourself and.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Can
Krishna.
you hear me? Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Namah. Thank you, Prabhuji, for another nice lecture on Bhagavatam Katha. We are still in first verse, verse 1.1.1. Today we covered some part of the Maya, like everybody is still in Maya, and we should not forget that. And some other things, and probably next session will be the last session on this verse. Also today you told us about the Malamas or the Purushottama Mas. What is the significance of that? It is a very auspicious month, and we all should obey and get the we should practice and the next Sunday is also the Padmini Ekadashi, which is very auspicious. And on that Padmini Ekadashi day, we have another session. So I would request everybody to present and listen to Prabhuji. Now let's open the forum for any question answer. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much, Anup Prabhu. Yes, Purushottama Mas is very important. And then, my humble suggestion would be, if you really love your family members or friends, invite them to this hearing of the sublime Grantraj Srimad-Bhagavatam. Nothing like it if they can come for Purushottama Mas. There Your love is like, sometimes we have so much love for our family members and our friends that we give, them many, many gifts. We give them like money, we can give them a home, we can give them a car, we can give so many expensive gifts. But can you imagine the gift that we can give them by inviting them to such spiritual activities? Encourage each other to chant the holy names more and encourage them to come. And all we need to do is sit in the comfort of your homes. This COVID-19, we have actually turned this around in a positive light, that we are able to, from the comfort of our homes, we are able to hear and speak Hari Katha. We are not, we have to drive like 30 miles or 40 miles to the nearest temple, or where there is some, impediment in the sense that sometimes, persons may not be feeling that great to go out, but you are in the comfort of your home and one can take full advantage. So every week you are getting the link. I would humbly suggest, for the benefit of all, personally, I don't care if there's one person, even if there's even one sincere devotee who is willing to hear Hari Katha, I will continue. But my point is that like if you really care, if we really want to give, that is millions and million times more beneficial to the ones that we love, invite them. Then leave it up to them. Encourage them. Encourage them to come to the spiritual activities, especially Shravanam. Shravanam is considered one of the best of all the activities amongst the Nauda Bhakti, listening to Hari Katha. So please, and from once the one does Shravanam properly, then the other components will automatically and very quickly manifest. Because we have to see Krishna through Hari Katha. We see Krishna through our ears. We have mentioned that many times. Our acharyas have mentioned that. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that. So I really appreciate everyone coming in and making this a part of the regular schedules on Sundays, which is very nice. I'm really thankful to Prabhupada. I'm thankful to our acharyas that somehow or the other we are able to get together, even though we are a few of us. But it doesn't hurt in giving the best, especially in Purushottama. So please forward this message as soon as you get it. Maybe sometimes people for material things they forward, like, oh, supposing if I do remember some of the nonsense messages that we get on the WhatsApp, like, oh, if you send only to 5 people, Google is giving you a ticket to India. It never happened. How many of you all have had such messages come to you all? Yes or no? Anup, yes or no? Tell me, put your hand up if you have. But that's what they are doing by that. They are simply basically accumulating data. They are data mining. And that data mining is only helping them to increase their advertising dollars. So basically, we are all excited. We want to get that free lunch. We want to get that free ticket. So we then immediately forward it to 5 different people, not to 5. Some of them were very enthusiastic. They may have 250 people in the list. They will forward it to all 250, thinking that they will get that free ticket to India. But my request is, why don't we apply the same thing? Rupa Goswami says, Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. Yukta, everything can be used in Krishna's service. So even this concept, which is so nonsensical in nature, if it is used for material and personal greed, then we can use that same thing. Why don't we make it a habit, if we can, without actually making it a nuisance? Forward it to 5 people every week as soon as you get the message, especially during the Purushottama, if you can do that, to 5 good friends, your brothers, your sister, your family members, whoever. And nobody's putting a gun to their head. If they're able to come, well and good. If not, even if they're here 5 minutes, they will derive some eternal benefit, guaranteed. And as I'm speaking from the Purans, I'm speaking from the Shastric evidence, everything that I spoke and everything that I speak as it is. So Hare Krishna. Thank you very much again. Anybody has any personal realizations, reflections, or questions, please, one at a time, go ahead, unmute your mic, and we would all be very glad to hear from you. Thank you very much. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Jai Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga ki jai.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Is this Prem Sarovar Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, I don't deserve that name, but Maharaj, through his causeless mercy, gave that name.
Congratulations to you and your good wife, Shruti Priya Devi Dasi and Prem Sarovar Prabhu for the initiation that happened last week. And welcome to official initiation. Means it is the beginning. Look up, we have to look up that word in the dictionary. Of course, I'm not trying to give you any instructions here, but it is the beginning of our real beginning of our spiritual life. In the sense, because Janmana Jayate Shudra Sanskarat Bhavati Dvija. By birth, we are all born ignorant. Even the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s have been to be taught by our parents, right? So Janmana Jayate Shudra. Shudra means ignorant. The word Shudra, Sanskrit word, if you translate into English, it means ignorance. So we are all born ignorant. Sanskarat bhavati dvija. Through sanskaras, we are twice born. Dvija. So congratulations on your twice born status, both of you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. A lot to learn from you, from your lotus feet. And this is just, as you said, just the beginning. Missing your association in Chicago, but I'm sure Krishna will find us some time for us to meet, right?
I just heard on my visit to Chicago today, there was news that they have extended the border closure between Canada and United States for another month, October 23rd. So hopefully, during Christmas time, if time permits, and if it is safe, and if my home minister allows it, we will both come. Thank you for your.
Your home minister is such a nice home minister, so she have no problem. We are convinced on that, Prabhu. Right. So, Prabhu, one question, Prabhu. Sorry.
Yes.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Hari Har Prabhu.
No.
The question is about, you mentioned Purnamashi quite often.
Yes.
I think it would be great to have a separate class just on the topics of gopis and manjaris related to Bhagavatam. So it's just a so beloved area, because at the end of the day, we are becoming, dasas and dasis of Radharani, right? So knowing more about their manjaris, and even my wife's Shruti Priya's name is also, it appears to be like a name of a helper of the consort of Radharani, right? So something like that. I'm not sure fully, but it's somewhere stated in Bhagavatam. So I think if all of us agree here, sometime you get a chance, it'd be great to talking about those areas, Manjaris and Gopis specifically, and what we can learn from them, like a little soul like myself.
Okay. So thank you for your valuable input here, Prem Saror Prabhu. I'll be very honest. I want to ask you a counter question. How many lectures have you heard about this sublime topic of gopis and manjaris, besides the ones that you've been attending on the special classes that I've been doing?
Zero, Prabhu.
Okay. And do you know why?
I think we have touched on that before, right? But please
yes.
go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, can you repeat what you have understood, please, if you don't mind?
I think different times we have discussed this with different association of devotees, and it appears that there's a common theme that once the people graduate from high school to college, the topic should change accordingly, but that doesn't happen most of the time with
So very true. You have nicely summarized my feelings here, and those topics are very, very confidential in nature. They are of higher nature. And first, my thing is that yes, I will be continuing those topics to a very select group of devotees. And those who are very deeply interested, I will definitely invite them. They can personally write to me on a WhatsApp. But to speak out in a general public forum, where right now, a few seconds ago, I said that everybody should invite their brothers and sisters and friends, and they may not even be in ISKCON or connected on a regular basis with the Vaishnava teachings, then it will become very, very difficult for them to understand. And it can even take the turn of some kind of a misunderstanding and some kind of blasphemy. So we have to be very, very careful on that. Your suggestion, I somehow or the other had included you in that sessions because I know you have that that inclination to hear higher topics, and you are always welcome whenever I do it. I have one more session left for the last verse of the Guru Ashtakam, which we will do it next Saturday. Uh, because there's only a couple good devotees who are regularly attending, and I'm happy with that. The reason is because some of the other Radharani doesn't want the others to attend. It is like Muhyanti at Surya. Certain topics should not go into the ears of certain people automatically, even though the doors may be open. Something or the excuse, other excuse, or some other priorities come up so that they don't come. So that doesn't do any bearing on the topic itself. As a matter of fact, it is of such high nature that only a few people like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he spoke or when he did kirtan in Srinivasa and in Srivasangan, only a few devotees were permitted. Not everybody was. And I did this particularly because there was a couple devotees who are very sincere, who had asked me, because for the last 30 years they've been hearing the same thing, same topics. And like you said, like we had mentioned, that there is the high school, and then there is the undergraduate and the graduate, and then the masters and the PhD, and even there are different levels of PhD, etc. Just to give a material example. So the spiritual life is unlimited, and rasa is also unlimited. It's even like Sankarshan Prabhu or Balram Prabhu has admitted that even if I have thousands of years and thousands of mouths, but even then I'm not sufficient to describe the glories of my brother Sri Krishna or the activities of Sri Krishna. So what to talk about the confidential pastimes and of the gopis and manjaris? I appreciate this, but when the time comes, I will keep you in mind, and I will send you those invitations as per the different topics, Prabhuji. So until then, even here while we are doing Bhagavatam, I'm pretty much going very deep. I don't know how many lectures in your career you may have attended on a Srimad-Bhagavatam lecture just for the first verse that lasted for 5 weeks, or a Jagannath Katha that lasted for almost 2 months. So whatever I do, I try my best to present it in such a way that it will be palatable to all, without compromising on our acharyas feelings and our acharyas teachings to unqualified people. Not to say that I am qualified, and not to say that you are not qualified, but again, there is a time and place for everything, and those instances will occur. So I hope you have understood what I just said, Prabhuji. And if you can confirm that, or if there's any other counter questions or comments, I would love to hear it from you right now, please.
Thank you, Prabhuji. No, that was very surreal and so much nectarian. So definitely we'll look forward whenever you speak on it, because you are a specialist in this area, and like you said.
No, I'm not a specialist in anything, Prabhuji. Honestly, it's just being manifest by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. So next Sunday, don't miss, because
Okay,
if you are interested in some Rasik topics about the first verse, it's coming next Sunday. So try to, because you mentioned that you are interested, so don't miss next Sunday on 1.1.1.
Yeah, and also Shruti Priya is interested too. She's right here, and she wants to say hello.
Priya Mata, congratulations, Hari Bol.
Please accept my humble obeisance to Prabhu. We are very blessed to hear it from you. Sorry,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna Mata. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We have to remember one thing, that Prabhupada is our Acharya, and everybody else, we may be a little bit catalyst here and there, but our bhakti will be enhanced by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. So you both are blessed, and you have officially surrendered to Srila Prabhupada by taking initiation. And please, please him. That's my only request. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Distractions will be galore. Trust me. I've been in the movement for 30 plus years now, and I've seen so many things That is why, same thing, first verse. What is that word? What are the words? Muhyanti at Surya. Even the devotees who are there for many, many years, Maya Devi is so strong. The moment we think, oh, I'm initiated, oh, I'm second initiated, oh, I'm sannyasi, oh, you have to listen to me, oh, I know better than you. Finished. Maya Devi will immediately, like Prabhupada said, that you remember, Giriraj Swami, you're always in Maya. What do you mean when you say sometimes? So we can always encourage each other and always encourage. We have millions of faults. I have millions of faults. I'm admitting that. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you criticize me, I would love that. But something that will be positive, that will change, anything that will help me to become a better devotee, a better Vaishnava. And that should be the spirit even for correction. That should be our spirit. Not just because we are better, we are going to correct you. No. And I've seen so many devotees in our movement, the moment they get their initiation, their whole attitude changes. They're looking at all the other devotees in a different way. They think they are the best. And then they get the second initiation, they go on the altar and they are serving Radha Krishna, Gaur Nitai, or any of the deities. And I'm holier than thou. That attitude is showing. We can see it. We don't say it because we don't want to commit any offenses. But we can say it, see it. So
And it goes back to Prabhupada.
Huh?
Sorry, we didn't.
Sorry?
So we didn't want to take the bandwidth because all the devotees are here. Just one comment on that. It goes back to Prabhupada. He was asked, after so many temples were created, he was asked by some interviewer, who are you now? He said, I'm just a beggar. Right? So this is the mode of humility. Prabhupada himself set as an example for all of us, right?
Very true. Very true. I'm just the bearer. Yes. Yes. And that's what we need to do. The moment we think that we are something, that means Maya is going to strike us very bad. Not maybe immediately, maybe in a day or two, maybe in a year or two. Sometimes Krishna is kind. He gives us time to rectify. And if we rectify soon, better. If we don't, and if we keep multiplying our offenses, thunderbolt is going to come. I've seen so many devotees come and go like a revolving door. Some or the other, Krishna is saving us. We should be very, very grateful. We should be grateful that Krishna, although I am such a fallen person, you are constantly saving me. Prabhupada, you are saving me. You're giving me your finger. You're giving me your lotus feet to catch on to. So again, congratulations to both of you. And may Srila Prabhupada bless you. Respect all the Vaishnavas and continue doing nice seva. And do not ever get fanatical. That is my humble request. That is also part of Maya. That will happen sooner or later. Just control. And I'm saying this because I've seen it. And I wish you it will never happen to you. You all will shine. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you so much.
Haribol. Anybody else has any other reflections, comments, questions? Our Nanpran Prabhu, probably you must have approached Mathura station right now. Are you on the train?
No, Prabhuji, it will take another 2 hours, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Danvat Pranam.
Pranam. So you are right now in the train berth.
Yeah.
See, Prabhuji is such a Katha Premi. I tell you, I get so much inspiration. Although I am the speaker gets inspiration from the listener. He had actually gone to Bombay, and if you all remember, unfortunately, he lost his sister to COVID-19, and we even prayed for her well-being of her journey. And he is, after all, now coming back to Sri Vrindavan Dham from Bombay after supporting the family. Sister is survived by 2 young children and a husband. So they were there, Sulekha Mataji and Nanpran Prabhu. Like very dutiful family members. See, this is a very good example. I wanted to touch on their qualities, that they live in Vrindavan Dham. And believe it or not, I'm telling you, I'm not just speaking for the sake of speaking. Nanpran Prabhu has heard many, many esoteric kathas from very big speakers. And he is a Katha Premi. And his attitude for service is amazing. And I really respect him. And I get a lot of encouragement from Prabhuji. So one of the things about him and Mataji is, when they heard that his sister was not well, they left everything. They left even Vrindavan Dham. A lot of people who are in our movement would never do that. Or they will say, you are not this body. COVID has come. What to do? We can't do anything. This, that. Be practical. So this is something, a message. Maybe this Krishna has just arranged this for both of you all. Shruti Priya Mata and Prem Sarovar Prabhu. Be practical also. A lot of people I've seen, even here in the Toronto area, they are so fanatic about their book distribution. Oh, Guru Maharaj said we have to distribute books. And then they will go out door to door and they will force people books. Some people, they get so irritated. At airports, they go, they give them the $10 and they throw that Bhagavad Gita in the dustbin. Then what kind of achievement have we achieved? And then sometimes people ask, what is inside this book? And then they give some kind of nonsensical answer. It is about bhakti yoga. What kind of answer? Prabhupada never said that. You know, you have to say what Prabhupada said. We're not selling books. We're distributing books for the benefit of mankind. That is Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavi Viriditam Kalmasha Apaham Shravana Kirtanam. Like that, you know, this is it has to bring auspiciousness in the life of people. We don't want their dollars so that we can impress our supervisors or our temple presidents or our Guru Maharajas that I distributed so many books. No. Prabhupada was never into that game. Prabhupada said distribute the books because the one only reason is so that people would take to Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, my books are like time bombs. Supposing a person buys it at the airport and he takes it home and leaves it on the shelf, and maybe that person dies. Maybe his grandson will one day open it. And even if he reads one word or one shloka, his life has started to take a spiritual turn. But fanaticism, most people are very fanatic. I've seen that. I take this topic right now because it is an important topic based on the perfect example of Nantran Prabhu and Sulekha Mata. If your family needs you, be there. Don't say that you are not this body and Bhagavad Gita says this and Bhagavad Gita says that. If you have money and if a poor person needs money and if you have enough, give it. Don't say that it is a pious activity and that's not going to help me from my bhakti. No. We should not be doing that. Fanaticism has no place in pure bhakti. As a matter of fact, when we get the goodwill of as many people, as many jivas, that will boost our bhakti. Krishna is also situated in their hearts as Paramatma. And he will encourage them. He will make you understand. You have to be a friend of the person before you even preach to them. That before you even just like a very good salesman, he will try to make you very comfortable before he even talks about his product. And then he will slowly inject that product. I've seen like that. Here in Toronto, I can say, I'm not going to take names, but there is a few devotees who don't care about their young children. Mommy, daddy, I'm hungry. I've seen it with my own eyes. Oh, just put some rice, eat it. I have to go for book distribution. Husband is wearing clothes that are torn in the house. Kurta that requires a button. That wife cannot do that much. Book distribution? What kind of book distribution? A child needs milk. Prabhupada was against that. There were so many cases of husband and wife sometimes quarreling on these issues. Oh, I have to chant. Prabhupada said, no, first take care of your child, take care of your husband. And of course, if you have to chant and if you're sincere, sleep half an hour late or sleep half an hour less. Don't make that an excuse. Don't be a fanatic. That is the point, my dear devotees. Fanaticism has no place. Otherwise, what is the difference between us and those jihadis? In the name of Allah, we should give up everything. And just because people get what do you call so-called inspiration from the wrong people, then why don't you strap a bomb and jump? Why are you telling other people? If you're going to get Jannat and if you will get virgin wives, then why don't you do that? Why are you telling these youngsters to do that? So I'm talking about fanaticism, and there is fanaticism in our movement also, in different shapes and different forms. So be extremely careful. Lest we commit offenses. There is we are talking about offenses, the 10 offenses, but nobody talks about one day I will take a class just on that if everybody has time. In between Bhagavatam classes, some important classes we will take. It's a good inspiration here based on the topics that we are discussing. That what are the different anarthas? And in anarthas, there are different kinds of aparadhs. One of the aparadh is jiva aparadh, Vaishnava aparadh, Nam aparadh, Dham aparadh, and Bhagavad aparadh. So just by thinking, Guru is not watching us, that our children are hungry or our husband has gone without the lunch. He is wherever he is, and you are giving a report that I distributed 1,000 books. Very nice. And then you have that name and that pat, and on the Sunday announcement, we get that pat on the back. Is that sufficient? Is that what we are looking for? When our child is hungry, putting other devotees to inconvenience. Oh, I need a ride. I have to do book distribution. Can you give me a ride? A devotee saying, I'm going in the other direction. Mataji, can you ask somebody, Prabhuji, this is Prabhupada's work. They'll try to put a guilt trap. They will put emotionally blackmail you. No. That is not bhakti. That is nonsense. Openly I say that. And that will only lead to fall down, sooner or later. And those devotees, they're still somehow or other, by the mercy of Krishna, they are there because they're chanting, they're doing that, but there is no progress. It's like an anchor that has been dropped in the middle of the ocean and nobody's progressing. You can row all you want. So, Ranpran Prabhu and Sulekha Mata, they are on the train right now. 3 a.m. in the morning, they joined us on this Hari Katha. These are exemplary devotees that we need to look forward to. He's not paying me any money or anything to say this. This is a real observation. And it is my duty to speak the truth. When there is an observation like this, when we have exemplary devotees, we should always get encouragement from them. I am personally encouraged by their attitude and by their practicality. And are we saying he's not successful? He's a doctor. Some people, they say that this bhakti is all for fanatics. Yeah, because we are fanatics. If we don't use bhakti in the proper light, sometimes we pull guilt traps on people for donations. That is fanaticism. Somebody comes in the temple, hardly the person has entered, taken darshan, and they said, Prabhuji, aap kahan se aaye? अच्छा, आप यूएसए से हो? ओ बहुत अच्छा प्रभु जी, आइए, आपके लिए मैंने महाप्रसाद रखा है. प्रभु जी, 1-2 लाख का कुछ कर दो ना, go down के लिए donation. What is this? Let the person breathe. Let him come take darshan. If our attitude is nice, if we have love radiating, Lakshmi Devi will come with folded hands. Don't worry about that. That's how it came to Srila Prabhupada. Let's follow in the footsteps of those great Vaishnavas. Dharmasya tatta nihitam guyam mahajana jena katha sapanta. Nandan Prabhu, welcome back home to Vrindavan Dham on the way.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you. I would like to add 3 things.
Yes, Prabhu, please.
During Purushottama, besides this Purushottama Adhyay, Jagannatha Ashtakam, we are also supposed to recite this Choragra Ashtakam.
Oh, the Raje Prasiddham Navnita Choram.
Navnita Choram.
Haribol.
Second thing, Prabhuji is not specialist, you are super specialist.
Arre na Baba, that's your kindness.
And third thing is that Mataji, your home minister is very strict and very punctual.
That I must say. I hope she doesn't hear this.
So we are thankful to her, Prabhuji.
Yes, I am. Actually, she
Hare
takes
Krishna.
extra care.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, she is the one who is actually stopping me from all kinds of, things that, especially during COVID, her love and care is of great
She's
intensity.
extra careful.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So, anybody else, please, your reflections, your input. Let's encourage each other, please.
Prabhuji, I had a question regarding Purushottamas.
Yes, Prabhu.
So in Jagannath Puri, the Nabakalavera, that festival where Jagannath, the idols are changed, the wooden idols are changed, that normally happens during the Purushottam Mass, but when the Purushottam Mass falls in an Asad Mass. So is there any special significance for that? Like, just wondered. I know this happens in the Purushottama Mass when Purushottama Mass falls in the Asad.
Yes, that's
I
true.
don't
The
know what.
the Navakalevaram, after every 12 years,
Yeah, 12.
Lord Jagannath, Baldev, and Subhadra Devi they have been changed. And then the Shaligram is installed in them. And I think I have no answer why in the previous month, the Ashwin month, and why not in the Purushottam month. Perhaps Hariyar Prabhu can throw some light on it, or Nandpran Prabhu, or anybody else. It's a good question for research. I will try to find the answer if I can.
It happens when the Purushottam Mass falls in the Asad Mass.
Asad, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
We just crossed Asad, not last Friday, right? Didn't we? That was Ashwin Mass. Ashwin and Asad is same.
No,
I'm sorry, I'm
different months. Different
No,
months.
Prabhuji.
masses.
Yeah. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Yeah. First of all, the Joda Ashad, like the Asad Purushottam Mass on the month of Asad, they don't each time they don't come in 12 years. Sometimes last 3 times they came after 19 years each. Last time it came was in 2015. So before that it was in 1996. And before that it was in 1977. For last 3 times it came on after 19 years each time, but sometimes in the earlier previously they normally used to come after 12 years, say, but it depends. Last 3 times it came on 19 years, 2015, 1996, and 1977. So why it is held? I don't know. I'm sorry. I won't be able to put in light on that. But
So we can do some research.
Yeah.
Anybody else has any answer? That would be great. Actually, Hariyar Prabhu, I was very fortunate. My wife and I, we were there for the last Navakalevaram in 2015.
Oh, you are really very fortunate. Very fortunate.
And that Jagannath Puri trip that we had during the Rath Yatra and the Navakalevaram, it was just, I'm telling you, out of the world. There's so many nice things that had happened to me. Maybe some other day, privately, I can describe it. Otherwise, some people will take it in the wrong way. But
that was 2014.
Was it 14?
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
Anju.
Navakalevaram, no.
It was 15.
2015.
Navakalevaram was 2015, Anju. We were there, if you remember. When the new Lord Jagannath, Baldev and Subhadra Devi and Sudarshan Chakra, the newly carved deities came.
One thing, Prabhuji, maybe if you are lucky, we can have a Navakalevaram Daru Brahma here some day, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good vision, Prabhu. May Lord Jagannath fulfill your desire. And there is a place I forget. Can you, any 3 of you probably know, Anup or Asim Prabhu or Hariyar Prabhu, there is actually a courtyard where the previous deities are put in the ground. What is that courtyard called? It is in the Jagannath temple. I had darshan of that as well.
Starts with Koili
Vaikuntha. Koili Vaikuntha.
Yeah, Gopal Prabhu is also.
Koila Vaikuntha.
Koili Vaikuntha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
Koili
you.
Vaikuntha.
Yes, Koila Vaikuntha.
Koili
We
Vaikuntha.
had darshan of Koila Vaikuntha also.
Gopal
Koili,
Prabhu, you're on mute.
Koili.
Who is on mute? Gopal.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Gopal Prabhu.
Yeah, you are right. Everyone is telling correct way. In Odia, it is called Koili Vaikuntha, and in Hindi, it is called Vaikuntha Vatika.
Vaikuntha Vatika. Correct.
Oh.
In Hindi. but in Odia it is called Koili Vaikuntha. And that Asada, really, even I never thought of that, like why the deity is specifically they are choosing the Asada. I could only think about, sorry, I don't know. I could only think about like, after Rath Yatra, like, they do the makeup, and probably that is the time when they feel that, okay, deity should be changed. Like the Jagannath ji have a layer of different colors, different layers. I mean, different type of things. So during the Rath Yatra, the coatings they get faded. Probably that could be the reason, but I really don't know, Prabhu.
No, there has to be some reason.
No.
It's a very good question, Asim Prabhu.
No,
I think,
in fact, if I may tell what Gopal Joshi ji told, and that makes sense. That I got it. The justification just because the Ashar Shukla Ditya is the day of Rath Yatra every year. So since Ashar Shukla Ditya, Prabhuji Mahaprabhu has to come out for the Rath Yatra. So just before 14 days before that, so that has to be completed before, like the Nabakalabar has to be done before Rajatra. After it is done, so that's why it has to fall on the Ashar. Because before, just after that, I think Ashar Shukla Ditya. So it has to be either Ashar or Jeshta, but why Ashar? That is the question. But Gopal Prabhuji is very close to that.
Haribol. Thank you. Jai Jagannath.
Jai Jagannath.
Sorry, I really never thought of that.
Yeah, the question came in mind just because we are discussing Purushottama, and normally it happens on Purushottam, in the Purushottam Mass, when the Purushottam Mass falls in Asad. So that's why it clicked, like why it happens like that.
So what we will do again, just because Nandpran Prabhu suggested that bhajan, I will send everybody that bhajan for next Sunday. We will sing that. So today I sang Nanda Nanda Ashtakam. Next Sunday we will sing the Vraje Prasiddham Navnita Choram. And actually the last line repeats that Chora Agragarnyam Purusham Namami. The topmost chore, the foremost thief, Chora Agraganyam Purusham Namami. I offer my obeisances to the topmost thief. So this is a nice bhajan by Bilva Mangal Thakur. And we can sing it. And also, next Sunday we can sing, the following Sunday Jagannath Ashtakam. But you all can sing it every day. If you want, I will send today that bhajan, the Chora Agraganyam Purusham Namami. So I will send that tonight along with the recording, so that if you want, you can sing it every day. Okay? Anybody else?
Prabhuji, I have a small question relating to the Adimas. Like usually the Sankranti, like every month we follow one Sankranti when the Earth moves from, or Sun, the solar system moves to a different zodiac. So in 12 months, like the solar system moves to different zodiac, the Rasi. So in Adhimas, there is no Rasi in that case. There is no movement to any Rasi, any zodiac.
I'm very, very weak on my astrological knowledge. Honestly, that is not my subject. So again, somebody else want to contribute, or you know the answer, or you can find it out and then you
No. No, but because in Odisha the Sankranti has a like very good traditionally the people follow Sankranti, and that is the day when people, like even the people who eat the non-vegetarian, they don't eat non-vegetarian, and they follow that, and that is the time, like when the solar system moved to different Rasi, different zodiac. Right. So thinking that way anyway. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Haribol. Anybody else? Kirti Prabhu, you are here. Hare Krishna. Is this the Kirti Prabhu from Montreal?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to
Please,
Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam, please accept my obeisances.
Yes, Prabhuji, how are you?
Okay, okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any reflections or any suggestions or comments, Prabhuji?
No, very nice to hear the Katha. Very nicely explained, so no question.
Good to see you,
Thank you
Prabhuji. Hare
very
Krishna.
much.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
From Texas, Anshuya Ben and Gajendra Bhai. Hare Krishna. Mukund Bhai from Chicago.
Hari Bol. Nice Katha, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Bolo
Hari
Sachit
Bol.
Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai.
Okay, thank you
Hari
very
Bol.
much for the nice Purushottam Katha.
Hare Krishna.
Really enjoy. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you all for being here. Raman Prabhu and Pravina Mata also. Thank you. Hari Bol. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Purushottam Mas ki jai. Please be safe.